Hickok 45 here with my new hunting rifle. Yeah, 8.6 millimeter. Can you believe it? Bolt action. Let's see if we can find something over there to hunt. Like a gong. Safety off. All right. What about a buffalo? Oh man, I'm ready. I am ready. Yeah, boy, I'm ready for game. 8.6 millimeter. This will fix all my problems. Come over here and look at this crazy thing. Yeah, does this look like something I would use? Well, maybe. You know, I don't hunt really. And I'm not a hunter and I'm not an operator, I have to admit. You know, I don't know. I probably don't know enough about this sort of thing, but it's interesting. It's a very interesting firearm. Maybe nothing you would be interested in. Probably nothing I would purchase. Likely nothing you would purchase. But it's interesting to, I think, kind of explore what's out there. I've had this crazy thing since I borrowed it from Bud's in the fall. I don't know, maybe before Thanksgiving. I've had it a good while. And through various things I've just not gotten around to. I'll talk about some of that, actually showing it to you. I don't think I've even brought it out yet, maybe, have I, on a Sunday morning? But had trouble getting ammo and some things like that. But it's really innovative. It's expensive. It's kind of a thing where I've talked about that with 1911s that are like $4,000 or $5,000, you know, some of these high-end firearms like that, that even though you might not be interested in it, it's just not your cup of tea, can't even afford it, or even if you could afford it, you have no interest, whatever. It's still kind of interesting to see what somebody is doing and what someone comes up with, a designer, a company, when I don't know if money is no object is the correct phrase to use, but when they don't let the cost drive what they're doing necessarily, you know, to much extent, and just say, yeah, what if we did that? Wouldn't that make that better? Or wouldn't the rail be better if we did this? You know, it'd be expensive to do, but it would solve this problem, you know. So you get that kind of thing sometimes from designers, where the cost doesn't, you know, drive most of the design, you know, architecture, I guess, of a firearm. So anyway, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to tell you what I know about it, shoot a little bit, and I find it interesting. Like I said, the cartridge interesting, and then the firearm interesting. Yeah. So I'll show you what it is, tell you a little bit about it. You probably get a lot more information from some other people who are operators or are hunters, and are probably a whole lot smarter than I am. So I'm using is, I don't know, Fort Scott munitions, if that tells you anything. The 8.6 Blackout is, you know, not easy. You can't go to Walmart and buy bulk packs of 8.6 Blackout. And this is subsonic, but because I was hoping to be shooting subsonically, you know. Well, I am actually, but it may not sound too subsonically today. So we got a magazine for it that's a standard, you know, AR-10 mag, okay, P mag, and that's what it uses, this cartridge. And you can tell, we'll talk about both things here. This is the 8.6. It's a newer, you know, it's 8.6 Blackout. It's a newer animal, and I think it's a really cool bullet. This is heavy. That is 285 grains. That bullet is, so it's a chunk. And it's 8.6 millimeter, I believe, is 338. So it's a big bullet. It's a heavy bullet. All right. So it takes like 300 Blackout to a new level, doesn't it? Kind of the same concept. Designed to work in shorter barrels, suppressed. You know, that's where it really shines. The difference is, I guess, and a lot of you know more about it than I do, and probably been shooting it for a year or something. But as I understand, with the rotation, you have a 1 in 3 twist rate in these barrels. 1 in 3. You know, an AR and most of the rifles and things we're familiar with are what, like 1 in 7, 1 in 10, or 1 in 3. That's a turn every 3 inches for my relatives in Kentucky. And you look down that barrel, and it's really weird looking that have that fast a twist. And so this bullet is spinning, as I understand, at over 500,000 RPMs. It's just an incredible spin rate. and that actually helps with I guess stabilization, but the effectiveness when it hits, you know, if you're a hunting environment. Okay, so that's kind of different. Plus it's a big heavy bullet, so interesting stuff. Let me take a couple more shots with it. Okay, there's a bolt gun. It's a bolt, and so we're not going to fire it semi-automatic today. So yeah, it's the Fix. It's called. They're in New Hampshire. I don't know much about the company. The company's name is Q. How's that for a name of a company? And how about the name of this rifle? The Fix. And now this came on. It's Leupold Freedom RDS. It's just a red dot. And I have a little trouble with red dots, as you know. I'm seeing 2 dots, but as long as I pick out the right one to focus on the target, I've been able to do okay so far. All right, so let me shoot this thing. So just imagine that it's suppressed, that it's quiet. It does, with proper suppression, it really is a quiet shooter. Now, I think that pointed bullet ought to go through a 2-liter, don't you? Yeah, no problem at all. Now remember, it's spinning very fast. See if you can tell by looking at the bullet as it's going down range. I'll try that. Is that a gallon jug? Yeah. Oh, I shot too low. That always happens when you're shooting up. Well, it doesn't always happen. Happens when you're kind of dumb. Let me hold it up a little more. Well, you know what? I guess I was hitting it okay. Yeah, that's right. It's subsonic, and with that spin, it just kind of goes through. That jug is not under pressure like the 2 liters. Interesting. I think I read where somebody was shooting watermelons, and they were having that same effect. It wasn't exploding them at all. So okay, so that was, well, what I was getting at there, when you got you know, the differential in the bore and the sight and everything, when you're like, if I was shooting at this bowling pin right here or the target paper, wherever I'm holding the red dot, you know, the bullet's going to impact about 8 inches below that when you're this close. So I thought that's what I was doing there, but I don't think that was it, because I held up higher on those second and third shots. So let's see what it'll do to that pot. Boom. Yeah, see, I held too high, I think. I guess it's just going right through it. Pretty cool. John can show you that. Let me see what, I can't tell from here, but there we go. Let's go back over there and pop that pig. Let's go. We're empty. Okay. The bolt didn't stay back. I hate that. Don't you, on a semi-automatic? No. It is a bolt action rifle, and I should have known maybe if I was watching, right? But I'm not hunting, and I'm just plinking. So, interesting thing, no doubt about it. It's got a kind of monolithic rail, and you know, this receiver's all one piece, aluminum. It's of course, your bolt is locking into the barrel, so it's steel against steel, just like an AR and a lot of other rifles and shotguns. You know, people want to you know, badmouth having an aluminum receiver on a, whether it's a Mossberg or a Benelli or anything, but you got steel locking into steel. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to have alloy receivers, would you? So some of the things you got here, this a lot of things are proprietary with this company. You notice the rail doesn't use M-lock or key lock. It's just their own system, because I think they wanted to skeletonize the handguard more. I said rail, I meant it's handguard. They wanted to skeletonize it more and make it lighter. This whole thing weighs under 6 pounds, and so you got bigger openings, and they've got these little inserts. They call them Q-serts, I think. And see, they've embedded metal inserts in there, and then they have their own system for that. You buy from them, of course, and you screw into that, and then of course you can put pieces of Picatinny rail on that wherever you want. But supposedly it allows them to make it lighter, and then also it should be strong, because you're going into threaded steel instead of aluminum like you are in a lot of rails, right? So, you know, negatives and positives, I guess. You can change out the barrel, take out take off the rail, take the screw out here, and there's another one under that, and you can pull the barrel out and put in a longer barrel, shorter barrel, that kind of thing. I think it's a standard AR grip. That's one thing that is pretty standard on it. So some of you are real familiar with these skeletonized precision rifles and things. I think this one shines. Supposedly it's like if you are a hunter, you're carrying your rifle or you want a secondary rifle to carry. This is a very light rifle that shoots a pretty big bullet. And I guess especially if you want to shoot it more quietly. You can carry this thing suppressed, and it's still not too long. You can get a shorter barrel with a suppressor, and you still got a short, light rig that even folds. If I can get this thing folded, boy, is it tight. It's new. There we go, broke it loose. All right, so you fold it around. Now while I'm doing that, let me show you how the bolt comes out too. So it really becomes a short affair, and of course this barrel is the 16-inch barrel, it's a little bit longer. Bolt comes out like this, push down on that. You have to have it folded in order to get it out. So you got several claws there, so it locks up nice and tight. It also enables you to have that 45-degree bolt throw, which is a little unusual, right? And that bolt rides on rails. There's rails on both sides, so it's very smooth all the way back. So it's like they thought of everything, and for that kind of money, you hope they did, right? And that just opens up. It doesn't lock or anything. There we go. Definitely locks in place. It's tight. So, and you got some AR-ish type controls for your safety, that sort of thing. Mag release right there. So, interesting rifle, I'll have to say. I think what interests me as much or more than the rifle is this round. Who knows whether that will become popular or not, but just a big old heavy round. You know me, I like big heavy bullets no matter what I'm shooting. And that's a chunk, and it's throwing it out there with that incredible spin rate. So that's kind of interesting. I'll show you just to compare where that came from. I also want to thank Alabama Holster though for their support of the channel. Great little company. Well, I don't know if they're little, but they make great little Kydex concealment holsters, and many of you use them just like I do. So we appreciate their support. Here's a little bit about this. I'm just giving you an overview of all this. You can find more in-depth information at their site and from other people. Let's see. So here's a 308. Yeah. Okay. So they took the 308 to make the 6.5 Creedmoor. Basically, cut down the case and squeezed it down, for a 6.5 millimeter round. So that was, we all know about that years ago. Well, this thing, 8.6, as I understand, they started with not the 308. They started with the 6.5 Creedmoor, this one, and on the right here, and they cut it down and blew it out for the 8.6 millimeter. All right, you can see it's a little shorter, and it's opened up for the 338 bullet. And I read that the reason they didn't use the 308 to start with was that the 6.5 Creedmoor actually has some better characteristics in terms of inside the case for holding a little more powder or something, that kind of thing. Okay, so they started with the 6.5 Creedmoor, and that's what you got. And so you end up with a shorter case, still yet, and it goes into this standard AR-10 magazine that way. You pop it in here. Now it seems almost too long, but it fits, and it rides just fine. Because you got the perfect size, that 338 bullet, up here, so it stacks well, everything. So just like a 308 does. So you don't have to have a specialized magazine or anything for it. Now I'm gonna put those back in my pile. I'm gonna mix those up and try to shoot a 308 through this thing. And what else do you want to know about it? Okay, let me tell you why I've had this so long, and I tell the folks at Bud's, you need to charge me rent on this firearm. It's been around here for so long, and I've just determined to do something with it. It has an interesting, everything is innovative. They just thought of everything. It's got some kind of a tapered threading up here, and they make this is called a cherry bomb break, as I understand. And it's theirs, Q, the company, their innovation. And they have a suppressor that screws on to that over that. It fits beautifully and everything. and the brake actually works with the suppressors. I understand it to enhance the function of that and all that sort of thing. But I thought from my research, if I could get that off and I had the adapter, I could use a regular, suppressor of almost any kind, standard threading and sort of thing. And so Silencer Central helped me out, and they got the adapter from Q and sent it to me, and went through all that. We finally got ammo and went through all that. But finally got in a position where, okay, I think we can, this is cool. We can use the Banish suppressor on this thing, see how this stuff sounds and everything. And so I started, occasionally I get this out in the shed and I try to get that off. Try to, heat it, cool it and everything. I didn't want to break the rifle. And y'all gone through that before. Sometimes you pull your hair out trying to get a break off or something. And I finally, I'm not going to fool with him anymore. I'm going to take it to a gunsmith. Well, I did that. He couldn't get it off. He was afraid at some point, I'm just going to break this thing. I'm just sorry. So anyway, I got it back finally. And here we are, unsuppressed. I gave up. I really did. And which was fine because, it doesn't really matter. So we're unsuppressed, but as you can see, it's ready to go. I couldn't just order, for one thing, a suppressor from Q, the company. I would have said, hey, send me a suppressor. We're going to do a video with you. I can't do that. You know how suppressors work. You got to get the paperwork and go through all that time and everything. So there we are. So anyway, something kind of interesting. I thought y'all might be interested in see it before I send it back. And I like what they've done in adjusting the adjustments and everything. The stock length, the comb, the lightweight of it. It's just kind of an impressive piece of machinery, and it ought to be for the kind of money that is involved in buying it. But there's a market. There's a market for everything. We have the other question: let me load a mag here, and we'll shoot a little bit more before I make you leave. But will this cartridge be one that survives? Is it going to have enough interest, to be less expensive to buy and easier to find? Time will tell, but it's definitely an interesting cartridge. I have seen around, I was looking around just yesterday or day before, there's some folks that really know firearms well, some very knowledgeable people that are impressed with all this stuff. So it's not necessarily a gimmick, okay? I don't mean to make fun of any of it, if that's what it sounds like at times. It's because, a lot of people have a whole lot of respect for this firearm, this company, and this cartridge. I saw some of a video with Ian from Forgotten Weapons talking about it, and I mean, he is very impressed with all this, and sees it as a replacement for his concept of the scout rifle. And I thought that was interesting. If you're familiar with the Cooper concept of a scout rifle, he was talking about how this fits that bill for him very well. It's lightweight, easy to pack, has an effective round, and you can suppress it, just all that kind of thing. So it's not a worthless range toy necessarily at all. Okay, although sometimes I enjoy a worthless range toy, don't you? All right, let's see. Take a couple more shots with it. And again, I really almost didn't even want to bring it out since I couldn't suppress it. But I thought, well, why not? Let's let you know what I know about it and shoot it a little bit. Some of you might find it interesting, at least to know about it and to know that, again, it's not a gimmick. It's well made, whether you like it or not, or you think it's way too expensive, or whether it's something you would ever use or purchase. It does have a place, and kind of an interesting design, I'll have to say. You get that thing folded up, and it's really small, packs a punch, very light, something you could fold up and stick in your back pocket almost, right? So we got things that haven't been shot. Let's remedy that situation. I'm not crazy about the little bolt, but as I understand, you can replace the bolt because it comes out of the bolt, the handle. You can replace the handle without replacing the bolt and that kind of thing. So that's well designed. Let's see, did we try to smoke any pot up close? Yeah, works pretty well. Got kind of a stiff bolt. Let's see if I can get that red plate over there. Yeah, I like that. And I noticed that it breaks loose when you work the bolt. It's kind of stiff, and then you notice it's got some play, so it breaks loose the extractor when you first pull it back. Got a little give there. Anything that will hit the gong, I've got to like. Tough fluid. Let's see if it's a bowling pin ready. Yeah, you can tell it's got some weight. What should we shoot with the last round? Let's hit another bowling pin. Wow. Yeah, so anyway, for what that's worth, the fix, it's got a stainless barrel, like I said, a 1 3 twist. The things that are the most unusual about it, I guess, is of course the 8.6 millimeter round. That's an interesting round for sure, I think. And the 1 3 twist is something else, and that incredible spin that bullet has. It's just quite different, quite different. So rush out and buy one today. And you can't hate a light gun that's got some a little punch to it. Now I saw someone saying that in 308 or something like that, if you're not shooting it suppressed, you do get a fair amount of recoil because it is light. You get this little stock and all that kind of thing. So it might not be the type of firearm, even if the money is not an issue for you, it might not be something that you would find as much interest in if you're looking for 1 308 to go out as your hunting rifle. It might not be as much fun, to shoot. I don't know. And then some of you, because it's a bolt action, you would call that a FUD gun and wouldn't want any part of it anyway, right? It's got to be semi-automatic before it's a real gun. Just kidding. So this is it, the fix. Quite interesting. Life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. Really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com. And also, while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter. The real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.